what had happened, I was at Texas Motor Speedway, and I'm walking through all the motorhomes inside the infield, and I'm having a Coors Light, and I walk up, and there's about 10, 15 guys, and Steve Conaway is showing the 2-hour house you guys had accomplished. And I said, let me see that again. I watched another 3-minute video, and I said, that could be one of the best leadership books of all time. And they go, what do you mean? I said, every business principle that you learn is in that story. And what do you mean? I said, well, you see teamwork and collaboration and efficiency and time management and organization and a belief system. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So from that, I told Brian, I said, Brian, if you don't mind, share the story, and I'll put all the business principles into the story that has to happen to pull that off. Well, anyway, so that event happened, and of course, Brian, became the president of the Home Builders Association. Right. He was looking for a way to increase the association membership. And so you guys ended up breaking a world's record, creating a remarkable showcase for his industry. So what role did you play in the 2-hour house? And when he heard the story and saw the house in California that was built in 3 hours, 44 minutes, 59 seconds, and he sit there and brought it to the Home Builders Association, and you heard about it. What did you think at first?
I thought
and how did you get involved? And tell me what you did.
Well, at that time, I was Brian's painter for his homes that he was building, and he was telling me about it, and I said, that sounds fun. It'd be something I'd like to be involved in. And so we got involved in regular meetings once a month for about 2 years, I think. But we was a painting crew on that venture, and at that time I had 18, 20 men working for me on the painting part, but I also knew a lot of the other painters that worked in Tyler I was good friends with, and so I got them on board too to help us. So we had about 60 painters out there. And we had about 20 airlesses going inside the house at one time, and about 15 going on the outside at one time. And I think we had Brian had allocated us like 4.5 minutes or something to paint the inside and the outside. We painted in less than 2.5.
No lie. So you had the old world of thinking what you were doing. What did you have to change to make that happen?
We had to make sure our paint would dry fast enough so other trades can come in there and work behind us. And we tried several things through the course of the year, different projects and stuff, to come up with a product that would work good and dry within several minutes, because it's going to take a little time to dry anyway, but where people could work. And we had the management people, just spray guys inside the house. We had people just standing there to pour the paint, move the cords, because all I wanted the guys to do was to spray. And then we had guys outside doing the same thing. We had extra spray rigs already in paint lines in case something happened, broke down that you don't ever think of that could happen. And so we was ready for it. And I knew when Brian gave me that 4-minute time frame, I knew I could break that. So I watched that time clock the whole time. And when we got down to us, we was behind schedule. And so I put a few more guys on the inside of the house that was there than what I'd planned, and a few more guys made a few little changes at the end. And of course, all the guys were professional painters that we use, and super nice. It worked out great.
So you did that on the fly while it's being built. You had to make those adjustments at the last minute.
Brian didn't even know that part of it, but I've been in business for a long time, and I kind of know how you can pick up speed or decrease speed if you need to. And I was prepared for it because I had over 1.5 years to think about it all and study and stuff.
Did you do a practice run before that?
We never was able to do the practice run. We was on the second house. In the first house where the concrete where it all just messed up, dried too fast, so we never did get to a practice run. But again, most like 18 or 20 of the guys worked for me originally, and so they already knew my system. And a lot of the other guys that was in business for themselves, a lot of them had already worked for me in the past for a few years and went in business for themselves. And so we all knew each other. We all got along good together. And so that's where we came from.
So you had how many? 60 painters?
There's about 60,
60
50
people?
60 painters out there.
There's 579 volunteers that pulled this off, which is amazing to me. And you're talking about, I'm just going to describe it real quick. We're talking about building the wall boards, digging the footings before the concrete is poured and finished. You got to pop the lines. You got to set the walls. You got to rough in the electrical, rough in the plumbing, build a wall plumbing, and then the sheetrock and the roof and the insulation. Then you got to tape and text to the walls, and then you guys come in and paint in what? How much time?
We did less than 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. And now when you were sitting there, it was a running clock, right?
Yes.
So you knew you were behind by, do you recall?
We was behind about 4 minutes total time.
Yeah, so y'all watching it, and everybody just was ready to go.
We
what
gained,
color were you guys in?
We was green.
Green. So they were sharing with us earlier that the practice house, they didn't have the color coordinated, so you didn't know who was supposed to be in and who was supposed to be out, and that's a form of communication,
right.
Just the colors in itself.
Yeah, a lot of our painters also too. They went and grabbed before our time was up to go in there and start painting. They helped the frame guys stand up their walls and stuff and carry them to where they needed to. So it was a big teamwork with everybody there. Everybody just, even though you're competitors, that particular day everybody was a team. And Brian made it so possible because he had everything coordinated just right and everything. But one of the biggest things I seen that I really think that really made it really work was a crane putting the roof on top of the house. I mean, that guy was fantastic that did that.
Yeah, you're talking about everything all built in, HVAC and all deal and turn it around.
Because a mistake right there would cost everything to go bad.
Yeah, no doubt. I still can't believe it with the weight and all that stuff to pull that off. So that was your biggest concern, was that, or was it more the cement?
No, I knew they'd get the cement right after that first failed, because you can put different chemicals in it to make it dry slower or faster and stuff. I was just concerned that if he wasted too much time putting the roof on, they'd blow everything out. But man, he did it like clockwork.
It's amazing. And so you were in charge of the paint. Who was after you in the paint? Was it when y'all had your meetings?
They started putting the electricians, the carpenters inside after we got done, hanging the doors, putting base down, putting cabinets in. I mean, they had several things going at one time inside the house, and then they run in the electricians, starting doing all the wiring and stuff like that. So, but it was hard for them to see there for a little while because it's so foggy.
Oh yeah, with the paint.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's so they come out and then they use their other skills to help set the walls, did whatever it took to make the project.
Yeah, we worked around whoever needs some help. A lot of the guys just help anybody, whoever needs some help out around through there.
Yeah, and I would say for you personally, since you're still in business and painting, and also, what did the 2-hour house project do for you personally, and how did you apply that to your business?
Well, it showed you that anything's possible if you want to do it. You don't give up on nothing. If you think something's too hard, there's always a way to figure it out to get it done. And so that's the principles I use on all my business and on everything that we do.
And when you talking about competitors, that with the painters, getting them engaged and involved, what do you think triggered that? And kind of, did you have to convince them, or was it something they said, I'm in?
No, well, someone was in, but someone had to pay out of my pocket to work that day.
You did.
But that's okay, because a lot of them couldn't work for free because they have families and stuff, but they wanted to do it, and it was good. It was a good deal for me, so it was no big deal for me.
Yeah. What other questions am I missing? There's, when you say how did it apply to your personal life? If you were going to go back and tell your kids and your grandkids, and you wanted to give them some valuable lessons of what you learned from that experience, what would you say?
I just say, if you got a dream, go for it, because they're out there everywhere, every day. Anything's possible. If you want to do it, it can be done.
Yeah, and it's because watching the plumbers and the electricians and the painters and the cement guy and the roofers and, like you said, the crane people, the people pouring the cement, watching all that come together in 2 hours and 52 minutes, it still blows my mind.
No,
You're talking about building a house, 2,300 square foot house, in less time than it takes to watch a Monday night football game.
That's with the yard in and everything.
Oh, that's with the yard. That's right, and the fence and the doorbell, and you got the kitchen cabinets, the bathroom fixtures, the heating and cooling system, the interior doors and baseboards.
Had to be inspected.
Oh, and the inspection. So the meetings, what did you learn from the meetings that you had, and how did you apply some of the lessons that help you improve your meetings?
Well, a lot of the meetings were with everybody on the different trades and everything. And I just listened to most of them because I knew about what they're talking about on things, but and I knew the guys that they had was going to be fine. But when we got to the painting part, then we just had to do practice runs outside the office, the meetings and stuff, to see what was going to work for us and how fast. And I even did on some job sites when we was painting regular houses. I'd put my guys in the room and said, spray this room, let me see how fast it takes you. I do practice runs, and I jot that down, make myself little notes and stuff like that, and things of that sort.
What about to get the material, get the paint to dry faster? Do you use that now, or a lot of
we'll use a lot of it. Since then they've come up with a lot of different paints now that even dries faster than that now than they did, and so we're but it's normal drying paint. I think we had where it's set up enough where people could really touch it in 5 minutes, but they couldn't wait. They had to just go in there and start working. But the main thing is, while they're setting the doors, it gave the paint more time to dry before the electricians got there. So by the time the electricians got there, it's pretty well dry to put their plugs and stuff in. So it all came with coordination with Brian and stuff on things of that sort.
Do you recall how many electricians there were? Plumber, just curious.
There's
a bunch.
There's a bunch of them.
A bunch of every trade. I think they said they walked in and had to walk out, so they didn't have them where they could turn around and cross by there. Just do one job out of there, and everybody's going. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we even had some people from Kentucky then watching it in the stands, watching our house go up. So
I don't think anybody will ever break that record.
It might could, but they had to do a lot more planning.
Well, Brian did mention that he thinks they could do it in less time, but of course, he had everything all laid out. So applying it to your business today, you said that the paint does dry a lot quicker than it did at that time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got it. And then I think that's really...
Did you work alongside any competitors, and what was that like as an experience? You can answer, Jose.
Yeah, yes, sir. We a lot of the painters besides my crew. We had like at least another 30 or 40 painters out there, and but we're all good friends. I mean, there's probably not no painters in this town that I'm not friends with. And we have a common. If somebody quits somebody's crew or something or other, we call and ask, make sure what happens, and I don't like those. We like standards, and that's the way we play the painters here. So I really enjoy working around the painters, even though they're my competition. We have a lot in common.
And y'all kind of represent each other as a whole.
Yes, sir.
Are you still involved with the Home Builders Association today?
No, because like I say, most of my work now is in the Maybank area, but I still live in Tyler and White House. And so we drive Maybank every day.
With that whole event, what surprised you the most?
That we finished.
That you finished? Okay, good. That you finished. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're working real hard and everything, you hear the buzzer go off. Do we make the time? Because you're just Because there at the end, you're really not watching the clock. You're just trying to get everything done. And then when Brian blew the big horn out there, I looked up one last time and I noticed it was under. I said, we did it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a big deal. And that's why, we have you here and tell your story and everybody else tell their story, because there's some magic behind it,
With the painters, they don't get a lot of credit sometimes, but they are master craftsmen what they do. And, I had a good team of painters that helped us. If I didn't have that team, it would have never happened. And they knew that too, because I had private meetings with the main guys of their crews, several times besides the meetings that we had with Brian and stuff.
Is there anything that you did you feel like other leaders need to know behind the scenes that inspired and motivated them in any way?
No, not really. About the only thing I've done, which I think the other leaders probably done the same thing too, is you just have to practice and make sure you got to know your team and what they can do. For instance, you wouldn't put a guy that can just roll walls on a spray gun. And you need to know which guys are, even your spray guys, you got to know who's the fastest and who's not, so which area to put them in. Like, I'd have spray guys, some be faster than the others, so I'd put them in the bathroom in the house. Because it's just a little area to turn around and stuff in. I'd put the faster guys in the bigger rooms. So those are the kind of things that you had to know that Brian probably didn't know, but you had no time to figure out to make sure we could hit our time limit.
A lot of people don't think about that, that's for sure. Those things you take for granted. And let's see, I think that's about it. You applied it to your personal life. And if you're going to tell your kids and grandkids, the main message would be what?
I just tell them to love life and do anything impossible.
We'll leave it at that.
Because it's possible.
Yeah, you got it. No, I appreciate that. And I think that's really, one thing I learned is, one thing Brian recognizes, that some people could do things better and faster than we can. And if you'll just listen and with planning and innovation and creative thinking, you can turn impossibles to what's possible.
Yeah, and like I said, we had meetings also with the sales rep with Sharon Williams to give us different ideas on different products and stuff, and which Tracy Logan was our sales rep at that time, and he was a big help on instrumenting our game plan for what paint to use and what we should use and stuff like that. So.